The morning sun hung low, soft and pale, pouring over the quiet cul-de-sac of Oak Ridge Estates. The lawns glistened with dew, the air smelled faintly of pine and detergent, and somewhere, a sprinkler clicked in rhythm, like a metronome keeping time in a perfect neighborhood. Marcus Reed stepped out onto his porch, coffee steaming in one hand, wearing the faded gray hoodie with USMC stitched in red. His body still carried the rigid calm of a Marine, every movement deliberate, every breath measured. He noticed it then, a white envelope taped neatly to his door. The kind that doesn't come from a friend. Wind fluttered its edge. The tape peeled slightly, whispering against the wood. Marcus frowned, reached out, and peeled it free. Inside, a single printed sheet. The HOA seal on top. Notice of violation. Remove the American flag from your porch within 24 hours or incur a $250 fine. For a long moment, he said nothing. He just stared at it, the same flag that had followed him through sandstorms and ambushes in Iraq, the same cloth he had folded over the coffins of men braver than most. Now, it was a violation. Across the street, a man in a tucked-in polo and khaki shorts, clipboard in hand, pretended to scroll on his phone. Ronald Sharp, the HOA president. His sunglasses hid his eyes, but his smirk gave him away. Marcus sipped his coffee. "Welcome home," he murmured. Lorraine Reed, Marcus's mother, appeared in the doorway behind him. A gentle woman in her 60s, her silver hair pulled back, eyes kind but wary. "What's that, baby?" "Paperwork," Marcus replied softly. "The welcome package, I guess." She took the notice, read it twice, then shook her head. "Don't start a war in this neighborhood, Marcus. Please." He smiled faintly. "I don't start wars anymore, Mom." He looked back at the flag fluttering in the morning wind. "But I still don't run from them either." The next day, he left the flag where it was. At exactly 8 a.m., Ronald's silver SUV rolled up. Clipboard. Sunglasses. That same artificial smile. "Morning, Mr. Reed." "Morning. I see you've ignored our notice. I see you've got a lot of free time." Ronald chuckled. "Rules are rules, Mr. Reed. We like to keep the neighborhood consistent." "Consistent with what?" Marcus asked. "With the image we promised homeowners." Ronald stepped closer, voice dropping low. "We can't have certain displays disturbing the tone of the community." Marcus's jaw tightened. "That flag is the reason you have a community." Ronald tilted his head, smirk still in place. "You'll understand soon enough." He turned, got into his SUV, and drove off. Marcus stood there for a moment, coffee gone cold, flag still waving behind him, the first quiet battle line drawn. Oak Ridge Estates was the kind of neighborhood you saw in glossy real estate magazines, smooth pavements, manicure hedges, white fences so bright they almost hurt your eyes. Everything looked designed to whisper, "You belong here, if you fit." When Marcus and Lorraine moved in, they were polite, quiet, kept to themselves. But the smiles they got were thin, polite, rehearsed. A nod at the mailbox. A wave that froze halfway once they realized who they were waving at. Lorraine noticed it first. "They're not used to people like us living this close," she said one evening, folding laundry. Marcus smiled without humor. "Guess we'll give them time to practice." By the second week, the notices started multiplying. Grass height exceeds community standards. Trash bin visible from street. Improper vehicle placement. Every letter looked official, same tone, same sterile wording. But Marcus noticed something odd. Every address listed in the community bulletin for ongoing violations had one thing in common. They were all Black or Hispanic families. There weren't many of them, 6 homes out of 92. But all 6 were on that list. He brought it up at the next HOA meeting. The room fell silent. Ronald Sharp, seated at the head of the long oak table, adjusted his tie and smiled like a politician who already knew his answer. "Mr. Reed," Ronald said smoothly, "our enforcement is data-driven. We don't discriminate, we just apply the bylaws." Marcus replied evenly. Then why do all your data points look the same color? A few neighbors chuckled nervously. Ronald's smile didn't falter. We can review that later, but let's stay on agenda. Next item, street parking violations. He moved on as if nothing had been said. Marcus sat back. He wasn't angry yet, but something cold was forming in his chest. Later that night, Marcus scrolled through the HOA's online portal. Most documents were public, but some folders were password protected, labeled Community Image Guidelines. When he clicked one, the prompt read, "Access restricted to board members." He stared at it for a long time. Community Image Guidelines. It sounded harmless. But the phrase had weight, like a quiet knife behind polite words. He copied the link and sent it to himself. Just in case. A week later, Marcus found a second envelope, same tape, same seal. Unauthorized guests observed on property. Fine, $500. The unauthorized guests were his Marine brothers, 3 veterans who had stopped by to help fix a fence post. Each of them had short hair, clean records, and bronze stars. But they were black. That, apparently, was the violation. That night, Marcus sat at his desk, laptop open, lights dimmed. He clicked print, one by one, letters slid out, stacking like evidence. Each fine, each date, each signature. He drew lines between names, streets, timestamps. A web began to form, invisible but unmistakable. Racism didn't shout in Oak Ridge Estates. It smiled, signed documents, and hid behind bylaws. The nights in Oak Ridge Estates were too quiet. Too perfect. You could hear your own heartbeat echo off the walls. Marcus had begun keeping a small notebook by the bed. Every envelope. Every date. Every sound after midnight. He wasn't paranoid, he was methodical. That's what the Marines taught him. Document. Verify. Survive. At first, it was the small things. A garbage can pushed halfway into his driveway. A motion light flicking on at 2 a.m. though no one was there. Then the whispering started. When Marcus stepped out early one morning to jog, 2 men walking their dogs went silent mid-sentence. One of them muttered under his breath. Never seen so many visitors at that house. Marcus looked at them, calm but unreadable. You should visit sometime, he said. They didn't reply. Lorraine tried to ignore it. She'd seen it before, back in the 70s, the looks, the fake smiles, the slow squeeze of exclusion. Baby, she said one night, sitting at the kitchen table, they're not gonna like you calling them out. Marcus kept his eyes on the computer screen, scanning PDFs of HOA bylaws. They don't have to like me. They just have to follow the law. You think that's how it works for us? She asked quietly. He didn't answer. Because they both already knew. A few days later, Lorraine found a note slipped under the door. No HOA letterhead this time, just 4 words scrawled in pen. Keep it quiet, soldier. She showed it to Marcus. He stared at it, jaw tight, then took a picture. It's not fear, Mom, he said. It's confirmation. That night, he installed a second camera. Then a third. The house was starting to look like a small command post. The next HOA notice was different. It wasn't a fine, it was a survey. Oak Ridge Community Image Review, please rate the aesthetics of your neighbor's properties. Marcus scrolled through the list. Every questionable home was owned by people of color. Every model property belonged to white families. He realized something chilling. This wasn't Ronald Sharp's obsession. It was policy. Later that evening, he knocked on a neighbor's door. Mrs. Kaplan, retired schoolteacher, white, lived alone. She'd always been polite. Mrs. Kaplan, he said gently, did you get this survey too? She hesitated, clutching the paper. Yes. I already filled it out. Did they tell you what it was for? She sighed. Ronald said it was to maintain property values. But Marcus. She leaned closer, whispered, he asked us to mark lower 4 houses that don't fit the neighborhood image. And what does that mean, exactly? Marcus asked. You know what it means, she said softly, eyes wet with guilt. That night, Marcus didn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, listening to the hum of his cameras, the tick of the clock, the pulse in his ears. The racism here wasn't loud. It was quiet, bureaucratic, clean. He whispered to himself. They wrote it into the rules. The next morning, he printed everything, every survey, every violation, every name. He didn't know yet what he'd do with it. But he knew this, he wasn't imagining things. He was collecting proof. 2 days after the survey incident, Marcus noticed something strange. The old woman next door, Mrs. Kaplan, hadn't picked up her mail in 3 days. Her blinds stayed shut, her porch light still burned at noon. He knocked. No answer. When he turned to leave, a voice rasped behind the door. Come in, but quietly. Inside, the house smelled of old paper and lemon polish. Mrs. Kaplan sat at the table surrounded by folders, HOA folders. I knew they'd come after you, she whispered. They came after me, too. She slid a folder toward him. Inside, minutes from a board meeting dated 3 years earlier. One line circled in red ink. Discussion, rezoning older properties to attract higher value demographics. Demographics, Marcus murmured. That's their polite word, she said bitterly. They mean people who look like me, not you. She pointed to another document, handwritten notes signed by Ronald Sharp himself. Move Kaplan to compliance review. Too vocal. Set example. Marcus felt a chill. They find you out? They tried. I sold my late husband's metals to pay them off. He flipped through more pages, financial statements, payment receipts. Among them, checks made out to a company named Greenline Land Services. The same ghost business from his earlier research. And the endorsement signatures matched Ronald's. Marcus exhaled slowly. This isn't just harassment. It's laundering. Exactly, Mrs. Kaplan said. They hide discrimination inside accounting lines. You fight the math, not the man. She leaned closer, trembling. They have friends at City Hall. Don't go alone. Marcus photographed every page, every note, then helped the old woman store the rest. When he left, she gripped his wrist. They'll come for me again once they know I talked. But maybe this time, someone will listen. Her eyes glistened behind thick glasses. He promised he'd protect her. He meant it. That night, he scanned the documents into his computer, naming the folder HOA fraud files, Kaplan. Then, for the first time, he saw a pattern of signatures stretching years back, dozens of homeowners targeted, sold, replaced. All non-white. Outside, wind rustled the flag again. Marcus looked up from the screen. The weight of history pressed on him, his mother's weary eyes, Mrs. Kaplan's shaking hands, the quiet theft of dignity dressed up as paperwork. He whispered to himself. They built equality into the Constitution, then buried it in the fine print. He closed the laptop and stared out into the dark street. A single porch light flickered on across the cul-de-sac. Ronald Sharp's house. Marcus had seen war before. But this was a different kind of battlefield. No uniforms, no guns, just papers, signatures, and silence. And silence could kill reputations faster than bullets. He spent nights tracing every check, every invoice Mrs. Kaplan gave him. There was always a name, Greenline Land Services, listed as maintenance contractor. But when he searched the state database, no such company existed. Just a P.O. box number, matching Ronald Sharp's. He began to map everything out on his wall, photos, receipts, red string connecting names to addresses. His mother walked in quietly, carrying tea. You're turning the living room into the Pentagon, she said softly. If that's what it takes, Marcus replied. Lorraine studied the web of paper. All this, for what? They'll just replace him with another one. Marcus smiled faintly. Then I'll just keep digging until there's no one left to replace him. Around midnight, his email pinged, an anonymous sender. Subject line, check insurance claims. Attached were 3 scan forms, storm damage compensation, all signed by Ronald Sharp. But there hadn't been a storm that year. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Each claim transferred funds from the HOA's reserve account to Greenline Land Services. Every single dollar paid into Ronald's private account. He saved the files, encrypted them, and printed hard copies for backup. The more he uncovered, the clearer the pattern became. The HOA had been used as a front, a tool to launder money under the guise of property maintenance. And the easiest way to hide the scheme? Target black homeowners. Bury them in fines until they sold and left. By dawn, his living room looked like an FBI evidence board. Stacks of envelopes. Diagrams. Handwritten notes. Lorraine watched from the hallway, worry etched into every line of her face. "Marcus, what if they come after you?" "They already have," he said calmly. "Then promise me one thing," she whispered. "What's that?" "Don't let them make you the angry one. They'll use that against you." Marcus didn't answer, but he heard her. That afternoon, he mailed a certified envelope to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Inside, 30 pages of evidence, a cover letter, and a statement signed under oath. "If anything happens to me or my family," it read, "this file is to be treated as an active civil rights investigation." He sealed it, kissed his mother's forehead, and drove to the post office. When he returned, Ronald's SUV was parked across the street, engine running. The window rolled down. Ronald smiled, sunglasses glinting. "Evening, Mr. Reed." "Staying busy, I see." Marcus didn't flinch. "You too?" "I hear running a fake company takes a lot of paperwork." Ronald's smile froze for half a second before the window rolled up again. That night, Marcus sat by the window, lights off, flag barely visible in the moonlight. He whispered quietly, almost to himself. "They think paperwork can hide prejudice. Let's see how it hides from the law." Somewhere far away, thunder rolled. For the first time in months, he hoped for a storm. It started small. A noise outside at night. A car idling too long near the mailbox. Then one morning, Marcus found his mother's car scratched along the side, long, deliberate, cruel. Lorraine stood on the porch, silent. Her hands shook, but she didn't cry. "It's just paint," Marcus said quietly. "No, baby," she whispered. "It's a message." That night, they didn't sleep. Marcus sat in the living room, lights off, watching the driveway through the camera feed. Every shadow looked like a threat. Every silence felt like a warning. At 2:37 a.m., the motion light flicked on. A figure in a hoodie appeared near the flagpole. Marcus froze. His hand reached for the old marine knife in the drawer. The figure bent down, placed something at the base of the pole, and vanished into the night. When Marcus went out, he found a rock wrapped in paper. The note read, "Stop digging." His knuckles turned white. He looked up at the stars, breathing slow, steady, deliberate. "You want a war?" he murmured. "You just made one." The next morning, he called the local police. 2 officers came by, young, casual, unconcerned. Marcus explained the threats, the vandalism, the flag. They exchanged glances. "Sounds like a neighborhood dispute, sir." "A dispute?" Marcus said. "My house is under surveillance and my car's been attacked." "We'll file a report," one of them said, scribbling half-heartedly. "But unless you have footage of someone's face, not much we can do." Marcus stared at the badge on the man's chest. For a second, he wondered which side of the neighborhood he served. When the officers left, Lorraine turned to her son. "You see? They don't even pretend to care." "That's fine," Marcus said, voice steady. "They're not who I'm waiting for." That night, he opened his laptop and logged into the FBI's public corruption tip line. He uploaded everything, invoices, audio recordings, copies of the Green Line files. He even attached the rock photo. At the end of the form, there was a question. Do you wish to remain anonymous? Marcus stared at it. Then clicked no. He leaned back, exhaling. The house was quiet again. The kind of quiet that wasn't peace, it was pause. The moment before something breaks. Lorraine appeared in the doorway, her voice trembling. I can't lose you again, Marcus. You won't, he said softly. But they're gonna lose this fight. He reached for her hand. For the first time since Iraq, she saw the same resolve in his eyes, the one that kept him alive when everything else fell apart. Outside, rain began to fall, slow, heavy drops hitting the porch steps. Marcus watched through the window, the flag drenched but unbroken. He whispered, "Let it rain. Let it wash this whole place clean." In the dark street, a single pair of headlights stopped for a moment, then drove away. The HOA meeting was scheduled for Thursday evening at 6. The agenda, community improvements and delinquent accounts. Marcus hadn't been invited, but he showed up anyway. He wore a dark jacket, no smile, just purpose. Lorraine begged him not to go. "Baby, please. Let the government handle it." "They will," Marcus said. "I just need to see it." The meeting room smelled of coffee and copier ink. A dozen homeowners sat around a long oak table, chatting softly. At the head, Ronald Sharp stood adjusting his tie, his tone smooth, confident, rehearsed. As always, Ronald began, "We strive to keep Oak Ridge the best version of itself. Order, discipline, consistency." Marcus entered quietly, taking a seat in the back. The room turned halfway to stare. No one said a word. Ronald continued, pretending not to see him. "Now, about unpaid dues, some residents have failed to meet their obligations." He paused, flipping through papers. Marcus read, for instance. Repeated violations, unpaid fines. "That's funny," Marcus interrupted. "You mean the fake invoices you signed yourself?" The room went silent. Ronald's smile faltered for the first time. "Excuse me?" Ronald said. "You heard me," Marcus replied. "Green Line Land Services. The company that doesn't exist. The one that's been cashing checks from homeowners for years." Murmurs filled the room. Ronald raised his hands. "Let's not entertain conspiracy theories. Mr. Reed has clearly." The door opened. 3 men in plain clothes walked in, calm, deliberate. Badges flashed. "Federal Bureau of Investigation," the lead agent said. "Mr. Sharp, we need you to stand up." The entire room froze. Ronald laughed nervously. "Gentlemen, I'm sure this is. You're under federal investigation for fraud, embezzlement, and violation of the Fair Housing Act." The sound of papers dropping filled the silence. 2 agents approached, cuffing Ronald's wrists. His face drained of color. Marcus sat still, hands folded, eyes steady. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just watched the man who had turned law into a weapon, finally disarmed by it. As Ronald was let out, he turned to Marcus. "You think this changes anything? You think people like you belong here?" Marcus stood slowly. "I don't need to belong," he said. "I built this place just by staying." Gasps rippled through the room. One woman whispered, "He's the developer's son." Another murmured, "No, he's the soldier who bought the land they're living on." The lead FBI agent approached Marcus. "Mr. Reed, thank you for your cooperation. You've done more than most communities ever do." "Just doing my duty," Marcus replied. The agent smiled faintly. "Maybe. But duty like that still matters." They shook hands. For the first time in months, Marcus felt the tension in his chest loosen, not gone, but lighter. Outside, neighbors gathered as police cars lined the street. Lorraine stood by the gate, tears mixing with the rain. Marcus walked toward her, slow, steady, quiet. She whispered, "It's over?" He nodded. "For now." But what matters is, it's out in the open. Behind them, the flag still waved, wet, heavy, but unyielding. For the first time, no one complained. Not one word from the neighbors. Sometimes justice doesn't shout. Sometimes, it just stands quietly in the rain and waits for the sun. 3 months passed. Oak Ridge Estates had changed, slowly, but undeniably. The fences were still white, the lawns still neat. But something in the air was different. The whispers were gone. The glances had softened. And for the first time, the HOA wasn't a weapon, it was a home. The FBI had wrapped up the investigation. Ronald Sharp pled guilty to fraud and discrimination under the Fair Housing Act. He faced 10 years in federal prison. But Marcus didn't celebrate. He knew punishment wasn't victory, change was. When the HOA board resigned, the community voted for a new president. Unanimously, they chose him. At the first meeting under his leadership, Marcus stood before the same oak table where Ronald once ruled. The room was quiet. No tension, no fear, just expectation. He cleared his throat. "We're done using rules to divide," he said. "From now on, HOA means home. Of all." A few people smiled. Someone clapped. For the first time, it felt real. He set new policies. Quarterly audits. Transparent budgets. Anonymous complaint channels. And one simple rule. Respect isn't enforced. It's earned. Lorraine watched from the back row, tears glinting under the light. Her son had turned pain into purpose, war into peace. Later that week, a small ceremony was held by the flagpole. The community replaced the old plaque with a new one. It read, "Dedicated to those who stand for justice, and stay." Marcus lifted the flag himself, hands steady despite the wind. As it caught the air, everyone stood. No orders, no requests, just instinct. That night, Marcus and Lorraine sat on the porch. The flag waved gently under the soft orange streetlight. Children rode bicycles down the quiet street, laughing, free. "See that, Mom?" Marcus said. "I see it, baby," she replied, smiling through her tears. "And I see you." He leaned back, listening to the sound of cicadas and distant wind. For once, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt like peace. Justice doesn't always come in sirens and headlines. Sometimes it looks like a mother's smile, a quiet neighborhood, a flag flying freely in the rain. Sometimes, justice looks like love. Inspired by true events.